Hey church, a couple things before we jump into our plant team video this week. This Saturday at 6 o'clock, we're gonna party at Mark and Lori Johnson's over on the Boulevard. We're gonna have a run through of worship and waffles, and so we're gonna cook a whole bunch of waffles, cook a whole bunch of eggs. I'll reach out to a few people to bring some fruit, but see how many we can make in what period of time, and we'll just enjoy being together. Again, this is open to invite anybody that you know, anybody that you're connecting with, and so this isn't just a plant team thing. So please send out those invites. So Mark and Lori's at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Look forward to having you guys all there. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the Vineyard Neighborhood Church YouTube channel. Even once the fast is over, I'm going to communicate this way. It seemed to be pretty effective, especially once we jump into our Bible reading plan as a team and then as a church. And then as we grow, I'll communicate this way also. So if it would help, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So let's jump into talk about fasting this week. We only have a few more weeks to go. So something that the Lord really put on my heart earlier in my discipleship, and then has really been a heart's cry of mine, and then will be of this church, is the passage of Isaiah 58. It starts out where God is talking specifically to Isaiah, and then he makes a transition, and God speaks to Isaiah and through Isaiah to the people of Israel. And so let me read this to you guys and talk a little bit. So Isaiah 58, starting in verse 1, we're going to go through, I think, 10. Shout it aloud. He's talking to Isaiah right here. God is. Shout it aloud. Do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet. Declare to my people their rebellion, and to the house of Jacob their sins. For day after day they seek me out. They seem eager to know my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not forsaken the commands of its God. They ask me for just decisions and seem eager for God to come near them. Why have we fasted, they say, and you have not seen it? Why have we humbled ourselves, and you have not noticed? And they transition here, and Isaiah begins to speak the message to the nation of Israel, and he's speaking to the nation, and he says, "Yet on the day of your fasting, you do as you please. You exploit all your workers. Your fasting ends in quarreling and strife, and in striking each other with wicked fists. You cannot fast as you do today and expect your voice to be heard on high. If this is the kind of fast, is this the kind of fast I have chosen? Only a day for a man to humble himself? Is it only for bowing one's head like a reed, or lying on sackcloth and ashes? Is that what you call a fast? A day acceptable to the Lord? Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice, to untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? Is it not to share your food with the hungry and provide poor wanderer with shelter? When you see the naked, to clothe him, and not to turn away from your own flesh and blood? Then, he says, if you do this, then this will happen. Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry for help, and he will say, here I am. If you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing of pointing finger and malicious talk, and if you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail." God highlights, even as we're fasting, even as we're praying, even as we give our offerings, that it's possible for our heart not to be right. He desires. He's pretty clear on what he desires. He says, loose the chains of injustice. He says, set the oppressed free. Share your food. Clothe the naked. He says, if you do this, then this will happen. Then the light will break forth like the dawn. Guys, it is my desire that as a community that we would love those in need. We would love the poor really, really, really well. I really pray that as we grow, as we learn the city, that we would really address injustices. Whether it be racial reconciliation or generational poverty, generational incarceration, chronic health issues, that as a community we would begin to address those on kind of a systematic level and an individual level. And so, guys, as you pray this week, would you just pray for those who have need? One of the things we're going to do as a team is 10% of our budget is going to go directly into the neighborhood groups to meet the needs in our given neighborhoods. And I felt like the Lord spoke this to me early on, and I really look forward to doing that. And I want to begin to learn. I want to begin. What are the injustices? I think we all know about the opiate addiction in this city. I would love one of our heart's cries is to see this city rid of addiction. And so, would you pray that way this week? Would you pray on behalf of the poor? Would you pray that the Lord would give you eyes to see those in need around us, and that we would become a community who really loves those in need really, really well. So I will see you guys on Saturday night, 6 o'clock, and I really look forward to it. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, guys.